All right, so this is the wealth card. It looks like we're already at the start of we you have with the wealth card you have some sideways rotation establishing support, then a prominent move higher, and then sideways rotation establishing a higher support. But it is followed by a notable decline. There should be a pretty big move here though, like to a high here at the end of the day. It might not be like at the close though because this Prince of Cups card kind of indicates a bit of a decline. And interestingly enough, we had a high here on the 17th as well. Remember what I said? It is possible that we stretch out as far as like the end of the 17th, but tomorrow I expect we should see a pretty big decline. If we don't have a pretty big decline tomorrow, I'm gonna be very very surprised. But I expect a notable decline there. Hey Robert. Hey Deduct. Right. So in the midst of the wealth card, what's interesting is we've got this cross reading, or sorry, we've got this correlation here, the translucent yellow correlation to the truce card, which we also had correlation to and a cross reading congruency to at the beginning of the day. So my sense is that we probably, well, interestingly enough, we're already kind of at the price level of the that we saw in the pre-market. Interesting. So that means that we might actually end up going lower here. It's a little tricky, guys. Sorry. The nullified theme, nullified low, nullified theme tomorrow. But this is a cross-reading congruency. I think what it's saying is that the support doesn't hold. And there's a notable move to the upside first thing in the morning. Well, actually, there's probably a decline and then a notable move higher, like right at the open. That's going to be like a pop and drop, and that's where I would open up a short position for a day trade, or maybe add to a short position there. right? So this high correlation right here might end up being just like a prominent peak. And there's sideways rotation, prominent move higher, sideways rotation. So this might actually be the completion of the wealth card right here. It's very possible. It would put us right around the price level that we had in the pre-market. Why is this so slow today? Right, we're right there. We're right around that price level. And then this is what's standing out to me. After this move higher, there's a decline that increases with momentum off of that price level. Hey, Karthikeyan. Hey, Deduct, are you saying the 17th, the 18th? What do you mean everything's on time? I'm not sure what you're talking about, Deduct. Would like to know Tesla's earnings movement? I feel like we did that yesterday. Did we do that yesterday, guys? Or on Friday? Anybody remember? Well, the fact that we didn't have like this big drop yet, it doesn't really concern me because I knew that there was this was kind of iffy these 2 days here. Tomorrow will be on the 18th. We'll be back on the 18th. But these 2 days were ahead by a day as far as sequence of events timing. So I would be concerned if we don't have a decline tomorrow, a significant decline. That is my sense that the 18th and the 19th. Well, the 19th is a little iffy, but the 18th we should see a pretty big decline. The 19th is a little mixed, but overall bearish. Interesting how we had the Queen of Cups kind of clear kinetically end up on top of the Knight of Swords or the 20th, and then we have it as the theme card for the 20th. What day is earnings for Tesla, Karthikeyan? Hey AV, hey Tabraze. You're confused where I wish this heart wasn't like there's like this heart that sits over the bottom line of text on my chat window and I can't read the last word. It's so annoying. Tabraze, I'm not sure what you're trying to say there. It's a little unclear, but I think you're asking where the top is. Well, like I said, partial short, get into partial short, and the reason for partial, not full short, is because there was some conflicting kind of stuff going on here, possibility of extending the high into the beginning of this week. And that's exactly what happened. So hopefully people followed along and only put on partials. They should have accumulated some pretty good shorts. And it's not like we're in any sort of trouble here, because it's not like we've gone high. We've just been kind of hanging out at these tops, which is exactly as expected. It was either that we would decline over the weekend or this type of thing would happen. So we should see a decline tomorrow. I'm not concerned about that at all. As far as the top, I mean, based on the small amount of movement that's taking place this month thus far, it's possible that we go from the lows back to the highs in that last week. There could be quite a lot of volatility there. Are you clear on that now, Tabriz? October 18th, Tesla earnings. All right, so this is looking pretty solid. We came very, very close to a lowest low here on the 17th. I would consider that pretty much on point. Not far. We're about less than 50 cents from the low there. Right, and then we go into a prominent crest. We should have a prominent trough tomorrow. Right, because we moved higher, so we should likely open lower tomorrow or end up lower at some point tomorrow, and then there's a prominent peak on the 19th. So I would say, oh, and this is the one where I missed this stone right here too. So what I think happens here is we have like this overbought peak or crest that we sell off from towards the end of the day on the 18th. Or it's actually more like a trough there, prominent trough at the end of the day, but it comes from selling off of a peak, a near overbought peak, and then on the morning of the 19th we have a big move higher, but that creating a prominent peak for the month, but that rally's halted by a sharp decline through key support, and then it looks like we end up in the low for the week, like the week's low. This week's low may very well end up being on the 20th, actually. Like we revisit it maybe. See, and this is what makes me think maybe we see highs and lows, because we are in a pretty tight range here. Oops. Supposed to point that way. Is this And this right here. What happened on the 11th? This stone right here was a little difficult to determine if it was involved in the 11th or it was involved in the 20th. Hard to say. I think it may be involved in the 20th. So there's going to be some pretty like big swings, price swings in here in the last week. But yeah, so overall it's kind of mixed. We have this pop to the upside at the beginning of the day, but I think probably people utilize that as an opportunity to get out of, or take profits. It's a pop to the upside out of what's very likely like a revisiting of the lowest low. Hey, Proof, will SPX reach 4450 next week? So basically, will it hit 445 on SPY? I'd be really surprised if we hit that. But it is possible because it looks like we have highs and lows next week. It's really interesting. It's a lot going on, a lot of conflicting energies. Should be pretty wild. So like let's say we don't have a sharp drop tomorrow. The next opportunity that I see to get out of the short position is on the 24th, but I don't think I'd want to go into the weekend without having a long position, if that makes sense. So if we don't have a big decline tomorrow, I'd probably giving me the opportunity to close out of a short position, then I'd probably add a long position in there. So it looks like maybe on Monday will be higher. And you know, this is an intraday high, but from the standpoint of the closing high, we're right on the ball with the 12th still. And then this kind of like choppy stuff going on here, I see it in the cards. It was just like not clear enough to be certain it would take place, but yeah, it's there. So 4450 next week. Does the S&P 500 reach 4,450 next week? Yes or no? I gotta know. Pretty significant no. Will Tesla be lower on the 24th than today? It's hard to say from looking at the ASO meta markup. It's hard to say. I'm sensing it's probably around the same low as the one today, but let's see what the cards have to say. Is Tesla's price lower on the 24th of October 2023 than it is currently today? Yes or no? I got a yes for that. I got 3 yeses in a row, just to be certain of that. So we should see a lower price level here. Hey, Nature's Well, welcome. What do we expect for BTC on the 18th? You're welcome, AV. Appreciate you. That's BBT. Oops. This was a really tricky. There was so much going on this Bitcoin reading. I just did the December. I just recorded December's reading for Bitcoin last night, and when I was reviewing the October reading, it's still pretty solid. But out of all of the ones that I've reviewed thus far, it's the least solid, and that's pretty good, gotta say. But it was very difficult because you have a lot of highs and lows, a lot of irregularities going on, a lot of erratic behavior. Let's open up the chart here. Yeah, so we had a prominent peak yesterday. And really this decline from the top back down is I would consider the universe card, probably continuing into today a little bit. So for the 18th, that's interesting. We got the Magus card there. That's a tricky one as far as directionally speaking. I'm thinking it's probably to the upside. Let me see. Overall trend direction of Bitcoin throughout the day of October 18th, 2023. Oh, it's to the downside. Oh, and that makes sense actually, because we've got this like sideways fluctuating rally preceding a decline. And I think if we look at a one-day chart, we'll probably see something along those lines. Yeah, sideways fluctuating rally preceding a decline. This is sideways fluctuating rally. So we should have a notable decline tomorrow. It looks like there's multiple failed attempts to break through key resistance on a one-day chart there on the 18th, and that's where there'd be opportunity to open up a short position. Now, this is where it got a little janky right here, right? So we've got this peak on the first, right? And then a lot of price change into a trough on the second. Another trough on the fourth, prominent peak on the fifth. So this is all pretty solid. And then we had some lowest low possibilities here, and they ended up being more over by the 10th. And the Princess of Cups is a very bottomy kind of card, so that very well could have been. It's just I saw this Ace of Cups here on the 4th. Yeah, so that's where it got a little jinky. We didn't end up having lowest lows there on the 5th, 6th. Everything up until the 5th, 6th is pretty solid. Even the 6th is good. And then we get back on track around... $14, $15. Yeah, it looks like we're probably going lower tomorrow. That's what it looks like for Bitcoin. I'm not sure why you think a day's lag for Bitcoin, because we never determined that Bitcoin was like off a day or two on timing. We never confirmed that. So the day's lag was specifically related to the SPY reading. Hey Randy, haven't seen you in a while, my friend. Good to see you. Is the Bitcoin low still on the 24th? That's what it looks like. It looks like we have probably like a double low. Not necessarily that this is a lower price level. They may be the same, like the 19th and the 24th. But there's a lot going on in this last week. We see highs and some lows in here, just like on a lot of the other October readings. So it's really going to we're going to get into some volatility. Might be that there's some sort of event, actually. Come to think of it. There might be some sort of event. And as far as that Black Swan, guys, I'm so silly, because I don't watch the news. But that whole thing with the Hamas just like randomly going in and attacking Israel, that was the Black Swan. I mean, that's so obviously a Black Swan. You're welcome, Nature's Well. Is Bitcoin's low on the 24th lower than the low of the 19th? Looks like that's a yes. So I would say Bitcoin's low is there on the 24th, and a lot of price change to the upside out of that low. I'd be prepared for a lot of price change there. Hey B, how's Amazon looking for the week? Why it doesn't... Oh, there it is. The label wasn't there at first, but there it is. Okay, so... Amazon for this week. pretty solid there, and then the sidewaysy stuff going on here. We saw this big move higher, adjustment out of this low here. It's out of oversold territory. Looks like a pretty significant drop tomorrow. Opportunity in mid-morning session, or possibly today. Might be a little bit late today, hard to say, but opportunity to open up a short position. And then it looks like there's probably a lot of price change on the 19th. A lot of price change. Attempt to establish support on the 20th, and then we go into lowest lows here. This was a complex reading. How low will SPY go this week? Well, I mean, if everything seems pretty solid to me, my interpretation was kind of like blurred here on the 16th, 17th into the 18th, but this was my secondary expectation, basically what took place. I saw it as a possibility, and it looks like it took it wasn't a possibility, it was an actuality. So with that said, this reading's still 100% on point. We should see a really notable decline tomorrow into a lowest low, so a big day, guys. We've got that 10 of Cups at the end of the day on the 1 day readings, cross reading congruency. So I think we're probably going to see like the 428 range at least, but it looks like that'll take place like at the beginning of next week, most likely. As far as this week is concerned, I don't think we hit 428. Why is this chart so weird? Come on, E-Trade. See, we're going lower now. See, that, like I said, that high probably was in based on that correlation here, right? Based on the correlation with the yellow translucent correlation, which is that truce card from the prior day's preview. We saw that price level at the beginning of the day in the pre-market, and then we had a move to meet it, like a sideways rotation, prominent move, sideways rotation. That's the wealth card right there, creating a peak or crest. And it would have been unlikely actually to see a day's high there based on the theme card, even though it's nullified. And so based on that, we met that peak, and then we should see this decline that increases with the momentum moving forward in time. And it looks like probably moving into the close, we should see it really pick up. Yeah, it looks like we probably hit the 430 range this week. Will Meta and Apple be lower tomorrow than today? So Meta's lower tomorrow. And it looks like tomorrow's looking mixed, but I think we'll be lower tomorrow and then possibly higher tomorrow as well for Apple. You're welcome, Nature's Well. How does MLK look and STMX coin this week? MLK? For the remainder of this week, what's the overall trend direction of MLK? It looks like it's mixed, but there should be a notable move to the upside yesterday, and maybe from a lower price level. But there's a fast sudden move higher, not yesterday, tomorrow, and then the day after that, it looks like it's kind of mixed. Friday was a rally, but it offers opportunity to open up a short position. That's MLK, and then STMX for the remainder of this week. That one's looking really bearish. Starts selling off from a near overbought peak. Oh, hey, I forgot to check my email, Robert. My bad. I'll check it today. What do you mean 818? Watch out. You're confused about Bitcoin? Let's take a look. Yeah, there's the lowest low. That's what I'm saying. This last week, there's a lot going on. This last week, there's a lot of contradictory kind of energies fighting back and forth between each other. It's not just Bitcoin. It's like the last week in like every October reading, pretty much. There's indications of lowest lows. There's indications of highest highs. So I think what we're going to see is a lot of volatility and possibly a high and a low within very close time proximity to each other. Looking at this now, I would, if it was going to be a high or a low and not both, I would go with the high over the low. But I think we'll see probably both. It's the Princess of Swords, so there's very, very likely a lot of price change in there. Opportunity to position oneself in both directions. Does that help out at all, Proof? Will QQQ be lower than 360 this week? Will the QQQ be lower than $360 by the end of this week? I got a no for that. Which whole it's falls in line pretty much with the price level question, the answers to the price level questions that I got when I was doing SPY. It's very similar. Do we see it next week? Do we see Q360 next week in QQQ? Clear Kinetics, I got a yes for that. Clear Kinetics is very reliable, guys. That's my guides like throwing something out like for me to see. You're welcome, Proof. All right, my friends, I'm gonna wrap here. I just want to run through SPY real quick for you guys. We do have a little bit of a move to the upside right there at the close. Interesting. So I think from there into the pre-market, we should have a decline. We may open higher than where we are tomorrow morning, but that move first thing in the morning, like there's going to be a drop, like probably into the open, and then a big move higher out of the open, reaching for a distant resistance, and you could open up a short position there for a day trade closing at midday. There's going to be a pretty big drop midday from this peak here. Okay, so we go from a high, we do a U-shaped dip back to a high here before noontime, and then this big move to the downside starting about maybe just a little bit before noon. This is a cash out indicator right here. So end of day might be a good place to exit out of like a multi-day swing trade for the short positions, and if not, then matter of factly on the 19th is where we have the cross reading congruency for the low. So we have a pretty big drop on the 18th, and then on the 19th it looks like we probably have the low. Probably first thing in the morning here. This is a cash out indicator here as well. Princess of Discs is a cash out indicator as well. So we'll see how it goes tomorrow. I got a yes for that one yesterday. It was luck. Powell will raise rates in November, yes. And hello, if I didn't say hello. All right, my friends, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. As always, make sure to follow that rule of karma, guys. All of the December dailies and now December monthlies are coming out on our website, Tarot for Traders. You get that. You can access all of the S&P 500 December dailies. Early access to our pros. Click here to subscribe. $29 a month, $249 for the year. Great way to support the channel, but most importantly, make sure to follow that rule of karma. You do so here on the resources tab of our website. 5% of the profit should be donated forward to one of these charities. Effectively, what we're doing is we're taking some of the competitive energy of the stock market and transmuting it into goodwill, and we're making the act of creating wealth for ourselves a good deed. I mean, you can't go wrong with that stuff, guys. So 5% of the profits forward to one of these charities, 5% of the profits back to the channel here. Thank you very much. That helps us support the channel and allow us to put out more content. And make sure to spend that 90% left over out as love. As long as you follow those rules, you're an angel investor of the channel. The universe is going to send it back to you tenfold, my friends. I'll see you guys on the next one. Blessings.